a lot of conversation around the Indy Oval. They had a test there. They're testing today. And sounds like we're absolutely going back. They've already started to advertise next year's ticket sales.
Right.
And what is that screen grab? Go look for that screen grab. It's like the phrase on there. It's like go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Twitter handle. In the ad or in the advertisement to sell tickets, it says something about coming back around. Which is it's a nod to the Oval. So, yeah, we're going back to the Oval next year. I think it's not. Is it been officially announced? Probably not, right?
Well, if they're doing that, then if it's from the
it doesn't say anything about it. It doesn't say specifically, hey man, we're racing on the Oval.
I've thought it's been official for weeks. I mean, we've been talking about it.
Well, the schedule for NASCAR has not come back out.
So then it probably isn't official.
I don't think it's official.
Right. But, I mean, I think it's pretty well known that we're going back to the Oval and ditching the road course. What do we have in the producer's room? Do we got any?
Yeah, they have. They're already saying that the tweet was, got a big 30th anniversary celebration in store for next year. Renew your hashtag the Brickyard tickets now and score the best seats at the best prices for an event that you do not want to miss. Currently reading the article, it does not say anything about the
Not
Oval
an article.
yet.
There's
a graphic.
It's a graphic on the tweet.
Yeah, that's what it says.
But look at where the cars.
What's the tweet? What's the graphic say?
Come back around.
Come back around.
Oh,
See? All right. There you go.
And the car is in the direction of like the oval turn.
It's not going backwards.
It's not going backwards.
Slide dogs.
What do you think about this? Do you
I'm
like
good
this?
with it, yeah.
You're good with it?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is we went and raced on the road course. That was fine. Look, it was fine. But having the fact that, how do I articulate this? I don't want to really get into a deep dive on this one, man, but it's like this.
I sort of do, but go ahead.
Sort of do. So we ran on the Oval. Indianapolis Motor Speedway has over 100 years of history. The Oval, all right? This is basically where motorsports started in our part of the world. And when NASCAR, there was so much talk for 2 decades about getting would stock cars ever run there? Could they ever run there? Bill France Sr., Bill France Jr. were having conversations with the Speedway for decades about how to get there, how to get us there. And finally, in the mid-'90s, there was a test. I remember how, incredibly insane and hard to believe and beautiful it was that we were going to get to go there. Before we ever saw a car on the track, your imagination just ran wild. You couldn't believe this. Yeah. NASCAR at Indy.
And I remember that test. It was publicized just as much as almost as a race itself. I mean, that test, your dad was there. All the main guys were there.
Everyone was there.
Yeah.
The test was massive. It was imagine that happening today, right? And so social media would have exploded with something like that. So it was a big deal. We go race there, and it was, everybody wanted to win that first race. All the drivers that were, the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, you could tell immediately right out of the gate they were winning a race that was as important in their resume to them as any race ever. That this race, it came prepackaged as, I hate this term, but a crown jewel. It automatically became one of the top 3 most important races that any driver would want to win because of the track's history and all of that. When we moved to the road course, you lost that almost entirely. For an Austin Cindric or a Michael McDowell or someone connected to either Indy, the area, open wheel, whatever, you still really wanted to win at Indy no matter what,
sure.
Right? Road course,
still get a brick.
But you talk to Denny or any of these other NASCAR stock car guys that grew up in stock cars, they want to win on the oval. The win on the road course is great, but it's nowhere near like what winning on that oval would mean. And so I don't want to disparage NASCAR or anybody. This is not a knock on anybody, but leaving the oval to go run the road course is much like, leaving the Charlotte Oval to run the Roval.
Mm-hmm.
It's like saying, man, this microphone don't work, so let's move all the furniture around in this studio. Let's rearrange the room because my microphone's broke. Or let's just go to another studio entirely instead of just fixing the microphone.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we left the oval because the racing wasn't good. Well, it wasn't the track's fault. And we left we don't run 2 oval races at Charlotte Motor Speedway no more because the racing wasn't good, and it's not the track's fault. Now the racing at with the next gen at Charlotte is one of the best races of the year. The last couple of 2 or 3 races at Charlotte on the oval have been amazing. I'm excited that we're going back to the oval, and I hope we never leave it. I hope we don't. We were so lucky, so blessed to be able to be invited there to race there, and we literally gave it away.
Yeah. Boy, I got a lot of thoughts on this.
Well, everybody wants to hear it, Mike.
Well, let's go back and just diagnose this. Why did we leave? Because the racing wasn't good, right? Yeah. Okay, and that's true because I'm having a hard time even remember the last good race at the Indy at the big course. And so the argument, if I remember correct me if I'm wrong, it was these cars don't race well on this track. Was that not it?
If I can remember correctly, the cars had good races there. We raced. We had good races there, good moments there. When you're looking at the bulk of it, they had the tire race where that was just a bad situation, yeah. Man.
Sure.
That's not a car track. That's just a bad situation.
We won't blame that on the track.
No.
Right.
That's just an anomaly.
That's right.
It's totally screwed up. Yes, it sucked for everybody. But that was fixable. I remember the race. I believe it was the race that Casey Kane won. I remember Brad Keselowski and Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy going 3 wide, smoking down the back straightaway from contact earlier in the lap. Or I remember Brad Keselowski and Denny slamming fenders down the back straightaway.
Yeah.
In one of the last, one of the handful of races toward the last couple of, we had another race at the oval where we blew a lot of right front tires. Denny blew one. Hard hits. But then we changed the horsepower. We went to that really low horsepower thing and put them really big spoilers on the back, them big ass spoilers.
That's right.
And we got way off base.
Right.
And
right.
What they were doing was trying to make the cars basically just draft past each other on every straightaway. They were trying to recreate what you could basically do in an Indy car where, if you were close enough, you were going to be able to pass the guy down the straightaway. If you come off the corner in a reasonable distance, you were going to go by him. They wanted to try to replicate that, and we kind of got away from, it made the racing worse.
Yeah, it did.
And, and then we just bailed, right? We just bailed on the track altogether, a track that we were so lucky to get to, so blessed to be able to have that on the schedule. So anyways, it's coming back. I mean, go ahead.
My concern on this, listen, first of all, I'm with you. I wish we'd never left the oval. I love the oval. If you like history and you like the historical significance of it, then you like the oval way better than the road course. The road course obviously gave us some exciting moments. My worry is like part of the thing is that it feels like, we can't ever have anything nice because we, ticket sales were not that good.
No.
I felt like that's why we went to the road course to begin with. There was a lot of empty grandstands in those races, even the Cup races. So I felt like they did something different, but now we're going back. I don't know. It's starting to feel a little bit like the Clash or the All-Star race where it's like, okay, what's our identity on this? Let's stick with something. Let's figure it out and stick with it. And I hope if we're going back to the oval like we all think we are, then we stick with it. And if there's a problem with it, don't incriminate the racetrack. Figure it out on the cars, which I guess is what we're going to do. if the race, but I don't want us to overreact anymore. We just overreact every week. Was this race good or not? Was it exciting? You know, the fact of the matter is that we had a weekend this past week where there was only one caution for 3 laps. I think we could get away with it because it was a road course and there was just action all over the place. If there's only one caution for 3 laps on an oval, people react differently.
Yeah.
So, and if there's only one caution on the big track, yeah, they're going, this race sucks. We shouldn't be here at the big track. And that's what worries me, is that if we're going to go back, we just, we are so short-term thinking and react to the sample sizes that we end up lacking an identity, and that's the thing. So I hope we go back. I hope that we stick with it.
We're going back. I hear you, man. I think it's a no one's ever going to blame that racetrack. That's Indy, man. You don't blame Indy. You don't blame Daytona. You don't blame those things that have credibility and history, and it's always going to fall on NASCAR's shoulders, whether that's right or wrong, which is the car, whether we got what do we need to do, the tire, Goodyear's going to carry responsibility. It's never going to fall on the track's shoulders because Indy is Indy. And so hopefully the next gen runs good there, races well there. I think it should.
It should.
Yeah, I think it should. And either way, I think you bring up a good point, Mike, about the crowd. If you're a track owner like Marcus Smith with Charlotte or Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and you got 300,000 seats and you're only selling 100,000, you got to do something. You can't sit still and hope that someone else figures it out. You can't go, well, I hope Goodyear's tire's better,
right,
or different. I hope that the car race is different. You can't. You can't afford it. You're hemorrhaging money. And so the move to the road course sparked some, renewed interest, probably sold reasonable tickets. That's what the Roval did. The Roval did the same thing. People got, I want to come check this out. This is something new we've never seen before. And the Roval's had some great moments. I don't have anything against it, but
the racing, did last year. You did not like. You were very
well. The racing's so good now at the Oval. I wish we would have not.
Sure.
Know.
Hey, aren't they testing there right now?
I just said yes.
Yeah, you said that.
I've already said that.
Okay.
Pay attention to me. Listen
trying.
to what I'm saying. Anyways, I think it's a good conversation, man, and I hope that I'm excited about that. Hey, if you like that video, you'll love the entire podcast. The Dale Jr. Download, it's available on all major podcast platforms.